The cameras caught something FIFA never wanted the world to see. Lionel Messi, 39 years old, in tears, standing alone on the same pitch where Spain was lifting the trophy just meters away. And in the middle of all that noise, all those celebrations, one man stayed completely silent, watching, before saying something that would blow up every headline within hours. That man was Jose Mourinho, the same manager who spent 20 years designing tactics with one single purpose: stop Messi at all costs. Nobody expected him to speak. Nobody expected what he'd say. And by the end of it, he wasn't just defending a crying man on a football pitch. He was accusing FIFA of getting the biggest call of the tournament completely wrong, with receipts to prove it. Watch until the last line. It's the one everyone's talking about right now. Final whistle. Spain 1, Argentina 0. And there, near the center circle at MetLife Stadium, the greatest player of his generation isn't celebrating a career capped off in glory. He's breaking down in front of the entire planet. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not this way. Messi was 39 years old, 3 years past the fairy tale ending he already got in Qatar. Nobody expected him to still be here, let alone dragging his country to one more final on pure will. And now it was over, again, with nothing but silver to show for 50 brutal days of football. Reactions started flooding in immediately. Teammates, pundits, rival legends. But one name cut through all of it instantly, because of exactly who was speaking. If you know football, you know the history here isn't friendly. For years, as a manager at Chelsea, Inter Milan, and Real Madrid, Jose Mourinho built entire tactical systems around a single obsession: neutralize Messi, double-team him, cut every passing lane, foul him if that's what it takes. Whatever the cost, so when that same man stands up, unprompted, in detail, on the record, to defend Messi in the rawest moment of his career, that's not just another soundbite, that's a signal. Something about this broke through even the fiercest rivalry the sport has ever seen. Mourinho didn't ease into it. He opened with a warning: "I'll say what I think, as I always do, and bear the consequences." The best player award at this World Cup should have carried one name: Lionel Messi. Any other reading of the tournament doesn't hold up against the facts. One sentence, and the entire tone was set. Because Mourinho wasn't just reacting to a man crying on a football pitch. He was reacting to what he saw as an injustice sitting underneath those tears. A man who gave absolutely everything, one final time, at an age when his body owed him nothing, and still got overlooked in the one moment built to recognize exactly that. Before going further, Mourinho drew a hard line. This wasn't an attack on the player FIFA actually named best player of the tournament, Spain's Rodri. Rodri is an excellent player and I respect him greatly. His performance was disciplined and impactful within Spain's system. But the question isn't about Rodri's value, it's about the criterion by which the best in an entire tournament is chosen. Apply any objective criterion to this World Cup, and you arrive at the same result every time. It's easy for a moment like this to collapse into tearing one player down to build another one up. Mourinho refused to let it. His target wasn't Rodri, it was the process, the criteria, the voting, the timing, that produced a result completely disconnected from what actually happened on the pitch for 50 relentless days. And then he backed it up with numbers that are almost impossible to argue with. This is where Mourinho stopped speaking like a grieving rival and started speaking like a prosecutor. He didn't lean on feelings. He built a case. Messi was named man of the match in 6 of his 8 matches, 3/4 of the entire tournament. He finished with 8 goals and 4 assists, 12 goals with his fingerprints directly on them, and he did it all at 39 years old, against opponents in some matches young enough to be his sons. He zeroed in on that man of the match number, because of what it exposes. Messi won man of the match in 6 of his 8 matches. Stop at this number for a moment. The same people evaluating performance, match after match, chose him the best in 3/4 of his games. Then, in the end, when it was time for the big award, they decided something completely different. This contradiction is what I find real difficulty understanding. Read that again. The same panel, watching the same tournament, kept pointing at Messi over and over, until the one vote that actually counted. Mourinho's implication is not subtle. Something shifted at the finish line that had nothing to do with performance. Then he connected it to Messi's age, and the number stopped being impressive, it became historic. To be the most influential player at the World Cup, among hundreds of players at the peak of their youth and strength, while approaching 40, this isn't just exceptional. This hasn't happened in the history of this tournament before, and I don't believe it will happen again. This is the part that gives Mourinho's words real teeth. He isn't a neutral pundit in a studio. He's a manager who built entire seasons around one single unsolved problem. Lionel Messi. I tried to stop Messi for many years. I designed entire plans around neutralizing him alone. I know directly, not theoretically, what it means to face a player who can demolish everything you've built in 1 second. Sit with what that actually means. This is a manager famous for tactical control, for nullifying the best attackers alive, and even he's admitting, on the record, that none of it fully worked. Not consistently, not for years. That's not a compliment thrown out casually. And it's exactly why, when the cameras caught Messi in tears after the final, Mourinho's mind didn't go to, he lost. It went straight to everything Messi had to overcome just to drag his team there in the first place. Then came the boldest claim in the entire statement, that Argentina simply doesn't reach that final without Messi carrying them there, alone, again and again. This isn't an emotional statement. It's a cold, tactical reading. Remove Messi from that team, and tell me honestly which round they would have reached. That's the definition of the best player in a tournament, not someone who plays well within a strong team, but someone who makes his team stronger than it actually is." Unquote. This is the line where tribute turns into hard tactical fact. Mourinho isn't asking anyone to feel sorry for Messi. He's daring people to imagine the tournament without him, and to be brutally honest about how far Argentina realistically makes it in that version of events. It's a question nobody can answer any other way. Argentina fought through matches that looked finished. They found answers in games that seemed sealed shut. And almost every single time, the man supplying those answers wore the number 10. Here's where Mourinho stopped talking about Messi specifically and started dismantling the entire system behind the award itself. The decision comes down to saying one goal in extra time cancels all of this out. That's not an evaluation of performance, it's a reward for the result, and there's a vast difference between the two. Individual awards exist to measure something different from the collective title. If it's always going to follow the trophy automatically, there's no need for the award at all. Just give it to the champion's captain and save everyone the time. This might be the sharpest line in the entire statement. Mourinho is naming something millions of fans feel but rarely say out loud. If the best player award always lands on the winning team, it's not measuring individual brilliance anymore. It's just a second trophy for the champions. And once that happens, an award built to honor the single best performance of the tournament, win or lose, stops meaning anything at all. To understand why this moment hit differently, you have to go back. In 2014, a younger Messi walked off the pitch in Brazil after losing another World Cup final, this time to Germany, wearing that same hollow, defeated stare. Years later came tears again, this time of pure joy, when he finally lifted the trophy in Qatar in 2022, closing what felt like the perfect final chapter of his career. That's exactly what made this tournament, and this final, feel so strange. Nobody expected Messi to still be here in 2026. Nobody expected him leading the line, at 39, deep into another World Cup final. As far as most of the football world was concerned, the story already had its ending in Qatar. And yet he wrote one more chapter anyway, one nobody asked for, except him. So when the whistle blew and the tears came again, they carried a different weight than 2014 ever could. This wasn't a young star mourning years still ahead of him. This was a legend, long past the age when most players walk away, absorbing the reality that this might really be the last time he ever wears that shirt in a final. That's exactly what Mourinho seemed to be responding to. Not a footballer crying because his team lost. A man watching everything those tears represented. The sacrifice, the physical toll, the emotional cost of doing all of this over again, with nothing left to prove and nothing to gain except love for the badge. So why did this performance, at this age, in this final, feel different from anything Mourinho had seen before? He answered that directly, by describing exactly what separated this Messi from every other superstar he's ever managed against. What distinguished him wasn't the numbers alone, though they're enough. It's that he showed up exactly when his team needed him. In moments when most players disappear out of fear of responsibility, he demanded the ball. That's not just talent, that's a character of a very rare kind. It's what makes him the greatest player I've seen in my entire career. I've faced the best who played this game in the last 20 years, and I say it without hesitation. I've never faced anyone like Messi, let that sink in. This is a manager who has gone up against Cristiano Ronaldo, Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid, prime Barcelona, and nearly every elite attacking talent of the last 20 years. I've never faced anyone like Messi, is Mourinho, ranking him above every single one of them, publicly, on the record, moments after watching him collapse into tears on the biggest stage the sport has. Mourinho closed by tying it all together, the tears, the numbers, the missed award, and what he believes will actually survive once the noise fades. This award, in its current form, has lost part of its meaning. It's become the award for the best player on the champion team, not the best player in the tournament. Messi deserved it. Not because he's Messi, but because every objective criterion points to him, the numbers, the man of the match votes, his impact on his team's path, and what he did at his age. History isn't written by whoever hands out awards. It's written by what people remember. In 10 years, no one will remember who won this award. They'll remember a 39-year-old who carried an entire national team to the final and delivered one of the greatest individual tournaments the game has ever seen. Leo doesn't need another piece of metal to prove anything. His legacy is bigger than any award, but the award needed him more than he needed it, because giving it to him would have confirmed what it's supposed to mean, honoring the best, not honoring the winner. Read that final line one more time. The award needed him more than he needed it. That's not a consolation prize. That's Mourinho saying the trophy itself lost credibility the moment it didn't carry Messi's name, not the other way around. Maybe that's the real reason those tears cut so deep. Not just a loss, not just a missed award. A 39-year-old man who emptied everything he had one final time on the world's biggest stage, and even his fiercest rival couldn't stay silent about it. Years from now, when people talk about the 2026 World Cup, they'll remember the scoreline. They'll remember Spain celebrating, but there's a real chance the image that outlasts all of it is Messi, in tears at 39, having given every last thing he had. And thanks to Mourinho, that image now comes with a question attached that isn't going anywhere. If the numbers, the votes, and the impact all point to one name, and that name still isn't the one on the trophy, what exactly is this award even measuring? That's the debate Mourinho reignited the moment he refused to stay quiet. And it's a debate that will likely follow Messi long after he's finally hung up his boots for good. So was this the greatest individual World Cup performance ever snubbed, or is emotion clouding the numbers? Say it in the comments, and subscribe, because the fallout from this final is only getting started.